With the club on the road back-to-back weeks, we decided to take our show on the road as well, from Chase Stadium to Hard Rock Stadium, the site of the 2024 Miami Open. We'll take a look back at the victory over DC United, look ahead to the match against the Red Bulls, and talk some tennis as well with the tournament director, James Blake, all this week on the InterMiami Weekly Show. Bit of a different background. We've traded the green grass of Chase Stadium for the blue court here at Hard Rock Stadium with the Arsenal legend Kieran Gibbs. I'm Joe Malfa. Happy to have you with us for another edition of the InterMiami Weekly Show. And Kieran, we had to do it off of a loss last week against Montreal. We knew losses would happen this year. It's part of the game. But we do enjoy this show a lot more when it's coming off of a victory. And it was a pleasant week of victories against Nashville in Champions Cup and against DC United in the regular season. I want to start with Nashville. On the road, 2-2 in the first leg, coming back home in total control of the tie. They took it to them. They scored a couple early goals, and they put it to bed.
They did, Joe. It was another brilliant attacking display. They needed a response, after the league defeat. But I thought that the way they handled that game was just excellent. And the interesting thing was the game remained competitive throughout. And it wasn't through Nashville not trying or, being physical and competitive. It was just purely the class and excellence of Miami offensively. They were devastating. We saw Robert Taylor coming alive again. Messi, obviously, and Suarez linking up with Jordi Alba brilliantly for the opening goal. And it was just a joy to see, and another great day at the Chase Stadium.
Every goal was just picture perfect the way it came together in that Nashville match. And again, maybe the only concern that came about was the knock to Lionel Messi. Club has gone on record saying that is just a hamstring, precautionary. They just want to move forward with that. He's not going to be with the Argentine national team coming up for the international window. But in his place, stepped up everybody else going to that DC United match then. Great performances across the board. Campana on the score sheet. A brace from Suarez. Federico Redondo stepped up in the midfield as well. We'll take a look at the highlights. It seemed like in total control of the match against DC right from the jump. Again, few players missing, but everybody else sort of stepped up and picked up that slack.
Exactly. And again, it was the response. I thought that, they were slow to get out of the traps in this game and they had to find their feet a little bit. But I feel like once the DC scored their first goal, the level of performance from Miami was raised excellently. Their passes came together more swiftly. I thought the movement up top was good. They competed. They earned the right to play after the first 15 minutes. And then we just started to see the quality shine through. And this opening goal from Campana, you felt that the chance was dead and buried, but I thought that Redondo was excellent. Him further up the pitch, we saw him a little bit deeper in the first game, and I thought that with Sergio Busquets playing that deeper role, it really allowed him to get further up the pitch, and I thought he showed great tenacity and desire to get the team back into this game.
Tenacity and desire, that's the best way to put it. I mean, look at this play, selling out from his ground, getting it to Campana, the celebration from his knees then afterwards. I think there was maybe a brief moment of hesitation if you're a fan, just the way this game started, going down early after the way things went last week against Montreal, but the team responded in an incredible way. And from that point on, really from when the goal was conceded, felt in total control the duration of the 90.
The way that they responded after the first goal, I thought was absolutely outstanding. And then obviously Luis Suarez comes on and grabs his brace. But I thought this goal in particular on the break, he shows, real energy and passion to get the team back into the game.
And then he shows a different type of quality on this one. That's just mean. At the end of the day, it's mean.
I mean, Luis Suarez, look at this. Pick that out the bag. He just does not know when to stop scoring, this guy. All different types of goals. He has shown it throughout his career. His improvisation of how to use his body to maneuver the ball and find a way to score is just simply world class.
End up going up a man at the end, but at that point it was 90th minute. Didn't matter much. A 3-1 victory for InterMiami on the road against DC United. A massive 3 points considering what had just been the week before and that loss against Montreal. But we talk about Suarez, we talk about Campana and some of the others. We want to focus a little bit more on Redondo. You mentioned it before. Just needed that match to really sort of assert himself and get off and running here at InterMiami.
Yeah, absolutely. Every player needs that when he signs at a team. You know, obviously, sometimes it takes a while for players. Some players hit the ground running straight away. We did see him in that deeper role in the first game, and this time he was given license to break forward a little bit, and it paid dividends for the team. I thought that the way he, used his energy and legs to get around and let Busquets do the more supporting for the back four, I think it's really interesting to see him in that role, and especially with Gomez, who as well I thought was excellent the other day. I think it's a nice balance.
I was going to ask you about that. It's a nice balance, and we talked about this, I think, 2 episodes ago, with Redondo coming in, with Gomez there. There's a lot of guys kind of competing for those spots, and this was before the DeAndre Yedlin trade, where Gressel was also a part of that midfield. There's a lot of guys there, and obviously Busquets, if and when healthy, penciled in, no doubt about it. Gomez can play further up on the wing, and one guy who's performing week in, week out is Luis Suarez. We knew when he came here that he could light this league on fire. I don't know if we thought it would happen as quickly as it has, and the way he's been scoring the goals will show you all of the 4 goals that he's scored so far this season. In the regular season, by the way, he also has a couple in Champions Cup, but all 4 of his regular season goals all feel different in some type of way. You've got a near post blast, you've got a tap-in that he had against DC, the chip, all different ways, and it just shows the multiplicity of his scoring ways.
Yeah, the variety of his goals and his capacity that he's shown all throughout his career has just been unbelievable. And we know that he can't physically have the output that he has. That he's had in his career when he was, obviously in his younger years. But look at the way he manages to still find a way and answers. He's one of those players that thrives off of people that doubt him. He it's fuel to his fire. What is it? 4 goals, 3 assists in the league, 6 goals,
right.
5 assists, all in all. 2 out of 4 player of the weeks. World class, simply world class. I think obviously his most recent goal is probably my favourite, just purely right. because of the improvisation. But yeah, I mean, just when you think that the chance is dead and buried, he'll find a way. He'll find a way, and it's amazing to see him still producing these kind of performances after all of these years. It's really amazing.
And in Champions Cup, he's got a goal with his head as well, so he's literally done it in just about every single way possible. I guess the next thing that he's got to do is score a penalty, and then he'll pretty much be able to check off everything on his InterMiami goal bingo card. But right now, it's been a terrific start. Everything that we could have hoped for, I suppose, since he's come in. And then you just hope that he keeps on doing it and keeps on going and growing with this team. But the chemistry already seems like it's there. I know he was here within plenty of time in the preseason. The chemistry already seems there, where he's on that next wavelength with not just Messi and the guys he's played with in the past, but you could see it with Gomez, that chemistry is there.
Yeah, exactly. What I like about him at the moment as well is that he knows that he can't have the same impact throughout a whole 90 minutes. So he decides when he wants to put energy into his game, and he'll smell a chance and he'll say, okay, now I need to actually get going here. And his decision making of when to do that at the moment has just been unbelievable.
And like we said, we took the show on the road because the team has been on the road last week against DC and this week against the Red Bulls here at the 2024 Miami Open. We had a chance to sit down with tournament director James Blake. James, it's been since 2018 now that you've been serving as the tournament director here. You're a New York guy through and through originally, but you've since become a part of the sports fabric in Miami in charge of this tournament. So just what can you say about the fan base here in Miami?
Oh, I love it. It's been a thrill. I've been a tournament director since 2018, but playing here since, I think, 2000. So I've gotten to know the fans pretty well, and they've cheered me on as a player, and now hopefully supporting me a ton as a tournament director, and really just supporting the unbelievable product that's out on the court, which is the players just continuing to get better and better, and we're seeing the best in the world out here.
Traffic worse in New York or Miami?
Oof, New York. Although, I mean, sometimes when I'm sitting in the traffic here in Miami, I think it can't be any worse, but I remember those times in New York.
Absolutely. I guess one of the biggest ties between soccer and tennis, among many, I mean, it's just a global fan base, right?
Mm-hmm.
You show up to an InterMiami game, you've got flags and colors of different people from different countries, and it's the same thing here. I remember I was at this tournament a couple of years ago, and it was Alcaraz and Tsitsipas, and you see the Spanish flags and the Greek flags, and you experienced that as a player. You've got the support in Auckland, New Zealand, Paris, France, and here as well. People forget that athletes are human beings.
Yeah.
What does it mean to have that sort of global support, whether you're a soccer player, whether you're a tennis player, just from around the world?
Yeah, it's incredible. It's pretty unique. we have, I think, 40 different nations represented here at the tournament. And when you have that, you get a little bit of a melting pot. And I remember playing a Brazilian here when I was a player, and definitely not feeling like I was the home favorite. And, it's got a little bit of a Latin feel a lot of times here in Miami. And so they get so much support, but really everywhere. As you said, there were Greek flags flying for Tsitsipas, and you get a lot of people that are moving through here. They're from other places, and they've come here for business. They've come here for just as a tourist. It's a great destination. So we get it all, and I love seeing that because it does. Like you said, athletes are human beings, and to feel the support, it really makes you feel good, and it does actually have an effect on the players out there on the court.
Yeah, we've seen it at Chase Stadium for the InterMiami players just these last couple of years, what that support means from the fans.
Yeah.
Speaking of, though, this tournament comes at a good time because for the fans, it's a couple of road games back-to-back for InterMiami. They were just at D.C., now they're at the Red Bulls, so they've got some time on their hands, itching to maybe get to some live events. So what can you say about this tournament, the field, and what to expect over these couple of weeks if these InterMiami fans are looking to do something else while the team's on the road?
Yeah, I mean, it would be great for these players to see some soccer fans because they're all soccer fans themselves. I feel like so many of the Europeans, the South Americans, they're off time when they're warming up out on the field here. They're playing soccer as well, so they'd love to see the soccer fans come out. But here, you're going to get an unbelievable experience. You get the best players in the world. We got 19 out of the top 20 men, 17 out of the top 20 women, all here. And then on the outside courts and outside the stadium, you've got unbelievable food and bar scenes. So even if you're a soccer fan and not a huge tennis fan, diehard tennis fan, you're going to have a good time. There's a lot to do outside. You can eat at Nobu. You can eat at Cheeseburger Baby. If you're not quite as healthy, you could do whatever you want. You got great coffee. They got great Piper Heidsieck, you got champagne, you got some. I don't want to encourage the alcohol, but you come out, you have some fun, you have a few drinks, and you can enjoy yourself.
I've been here the last 2 years, and I have tickets coming up again this week. I will say the Paloma. If you're into that, if you're coming here, that's what you got to go for. So, last one, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Uh-oh.
Lionel Messi, it's no secret here with InterMiami. In the eyes of many, anybody else who thinks otherwise, I will say is wrong. But in the eyes of many, the greatest of all time in this sport. Put you on the spot, greatest of all time in tennis.
I think Novak's putting that argument to bed. He's making it so that if you look at it, really look at the data and look at everything, you can't picture anyone else but him.
Fair enough. James, thanks for your time. Looking forward to this one.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Big thanks to James Blake. And again, I cannot stress it enough. If you're looking for something to do in the area with InterMiami on the road, come to the Miami Open. I've been here the last 2 years. I got my tickets again for the third round for the men, fourth round for the women. It's a great time. Plenty of food, plenty of drink, plenty of good time to be had. And there's plenty of good time to be had for the players on InterMiami who have been called into international duty. 6 players overall have been called in this time. You've got Redondo for the U23s, David Ruiz, Izzy Boatwright, Drake Callender with Diego Gomez as well, all gone for InterMiami in the upcoming window. It just goes to show you, again, the depth of this team. It's not just Messi. It's not just Busquets and Alba and Suarez. There's so much depth to this team. People have said, right, no Messi, no party, when they haven't had him, the results haven't been the same. It looked okay this past weekend against DC, and it's because of that depth that is now being recognized on the international level as well.
Yeah, and that game for the team mentally was huge because, like we said, people expect when Messi's playing and to get results, and when they haven't, the results have been a little bit jaded, but that for the boys mentally will be huge going throughout the season. And this is another big week, another big test. We said at the beginning that players were going to get called up to national teams. You have the Olympics, we have all sorts of other tournaments, and it's important that those players, that have been on the fringes are ready to step in when needed. But at the moment, the squad depth is proving very, very necessary and fruitful for the boys.
And maybe a silver lining in this window is that Robert Taylor announced via his Instagram that he is not joining Finland for this international window. They have a big game, a playoff match for Euros, but he just didn't feel it was the right time to leave the club. He just set the club record for most appearances at 83. How important is it to still have him in this matchup coming up against the Red Bulls?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's become a really important player. I've really enjoyed seeing how he's grown as a person and as a player under this kind of new era of Miami. I felt that with many players, with the incomings of the last year, it could have been very easy for players like Robert Taylor to have gone the other way and kind of, felt inferior and gone inward. But he has just done the complete opposite. He has really changed the way he almost changed his game a little bit. He doesn't do so much now. He's a little bit more selective. Sometimes when less is more, and I feel like he's learned that from the likes of Messi and Suarez that have come in. When you're at your most happiest is when you're at your most dangerous as a player. So long may that continue for Robert.
Absolutely, and long may the success continue right now for this club. Next one coming up on the road against the Red Bulls. They will be without Emil Forsberg, their big signing in the offseason, the designated player, the number 10 in the midfield for them. It's a new coach. It's a bit of a new system for the Red Bulls from what we've seen in the past years. They have a lot of talent, missing some of it again in their own right because of international duty. What are you expecting on the road in New Jersey against the Red Bulls this week?
Another big test. New York's always a big test. It's a great atmosphere. The players love going there. The atmosphere is really good. The support is good. It's a physical game. Nice big pitch as well. So I'm expecting a really big contest.
Yeah, it's been a big couple of weeks for the club getting through in Champions Cup, the 3 points against DC. And I don't know if we can really talk enough about how important Champions Cup is. It's not just continental supremacy in CONCACAF. It's your ticket into the Club World Cup, which is next summer here in the United States. That's massive for the club. Messi's played in the Club World Cup before. They've been there, done that, having won Champions Leagues with Barcelona, and now they can do it again here at InterMiami.
Yeah, we mentioned it last week, didn't we? We said how important it is for the club. They're a club that want to strive for new heights all the time. We've seen it since the birth of the club, and they're not going to stop, and their ambitions will remain the same. We saw with how historic some of the players are that they have. They want to make history. So really important. It was an amazing game to get through. Beat Nashville in a really convincing way in the end. And there's no telling what the team can't achieve. So it's really exciting times.
Between the win against DC United, the Red Bulls match coming up on the road this week, it's a big couple of weeks for the club. Don't forget you could get your tickets to the home match on March 30th against NYCFC, and then the following week in that midweek, April 3rd at home at Chase Stadium against Monterrey in the first leg of that Champions Cup tie. Super important. Make sure you're there. Make sure you're heard as the club tries to go and get through the 2025 Club World Cup. We thank you again for tuning into the InterMiami Weekly Show here on YouTube. Make sure you like and subscribe.